Hi, everybody. Welcome to Los Angeles. My name is Rudy Espinoza. I'm the CEO of Inclusive Action for the City. We are an economic justice organization and CDFI based here in Los Angeles. We are proud to be one of the co-hosts of this year's conference. It's an honor to welcome you all to my hometown. Can I get another round of applause for LA? Friends, when people think of LA, they often think of Hollywood. They think of the glamour of celebrities, they think of the beaches, they think about reality TV stars. But you know what makes LA special? Does anybody know? The vendors. You got the indigenous Zapotec communities in neighborhoods like Koreatown and South Central, who struggle every day to preserve their language and their culture. The legacy small businesses who are facing skyrocketing rents in the city that they care about and dream of owning their own piece of commercial real estate to run their businesses. The healthcare workers who are taking care of our immigrant parents who are fighting for a good union contract right now. And yes, the street vendors. The street vendors for over the last 15 years have been working together to not only legalize street vending here in Los Angeles, but to pass policies throughout the state of California that support thousands of micro-entrepreneurs in our state. That's what makes LA special. These are the people that make LA a beacon of opportunity for so many. And as we convene, as we get all together, all the power, all the expertise, and all the resources, we have a special opportunity to think about how are we going to invest in communities like the ones here in Los Angeles? How are we going to help them build power so they can take control of their lives? I'm so proud that the team at Inclusive Action, all the colleagues that I work with, believe in honoring the city, in the true city of Los Angeles, and unlocking the potential of every Angelino. But you know who else sees the heart of our cities? Janis Bowdler. It's my pleasure to introduce someone like Janis Bowdler, who is a counselor to the Secretary for Racial Equity at the Department of the Treasury. Janis is a familiar face to many of us. Her impact on advancing racial and economic equity is transformative and profound. For over 2 decades, y'all, Janis has championed the fight to dismantle barriers to wealth and financial security, tackling disparities everywhere she goes at the local, the national, and even international level. We're so honored to have her here with us today. I'm so honored to call her a friend. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome to the stage. Janis.
Thank you. Oh man, they told me that this was a big room, and in fact, you guys look gorgeous. How's it going? Woo! Donna's getting you fired up. There was the band. I heard that playlist too. Where's Harold? I'm pretty sure Harold had something to do with the playlist this morning. It was pretty good. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. I, first of all, want to thank Rudy for that kind introduction and congratulate him on all the amazing work that he is doing here in the city of Los Angeles, and for being one of the many people, like many of you in this room, that takes our local stories into the DC area, brings it to the federal government. We need that. We need each of you out in DC telling your stories. I also want to thank Harold Pettigrew and Donna Gambrell for their leadership and their partnership over the years. You really have an amazing set of leaders here at OFN. And I can't be more delighted to be here with so many CDFIs across the country as we celebrate 2 great achievements: the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the CDFI Fund and the 40th anniversary of OFN. We're here not just to honor the accomplishments and the transformational impact that you've had in communities across the nation. We also are here to talk about your steadfast commitment to mission-driven capital and how it has uplifted countless individuals and businesses, how it's fostering resilience and growth in areas that would have otherwise gone underserved. We already heard some Great numbers from Dan Latendra. I'm so glad he shouted out all the federal government numbers, so I don't have to walk through those with you again and bore you with those numbers. But over the past 30 years, your ranks have grown tremendously. We now have 1,500 CDFIs nationwide. Collectively, you're holding about $452 billion in assets. You are, yeah, woo! Like that's really serious. And you know, if you've been in a room with me, you're not leaving here without some homework, so I'm gonna tell you how to put those assets to good use. Because you are the lifeline to people and places that have long been overlooked, underestimated, and cut off from economic opportunity. Not because they lack the talent, the determination, or the ideas, but because they don't fit the box. They don't fit traditional risk models, or they live in banking deserts, or they just haven't had somebody yet who is willing to invest in their dreams and pull them off of the margins of our economy. When you do your work, we are fueling homeownership, we are scaling businesses, we are expanding access to childcare, shelter, and health services. Every day, you are showing us that when we invest in those most marginalized in our economy, we are creating greater prosperity for everyone. And frankly, your birthday is right on time. CDFIs are reaching a point of maturity at a critical time when your capacity and reach are more important than ever. The American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, you guys have all heard the names of these bills before. They are ushering in a major economic transition that has the potential to reduce long-standing wealth and wage disparities, but only if we act swiftly and work together. Treasury has played a major role in this suite of legislation, including deploying $1 trillion through the American Rescue Plan, and many of you were partners in that effort. Together, we kept people in their homes. We saved small businesses, and we delivered relief to millions of families across the country. And because of our collective efforts, we helped secure one of the most equitable economic recoveries on record. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Because I was with so many of you when we did battle in 2008, 9, 10, 11, when we lost 60% of the wealth in the Latino community, when we saw what happened when we let people go. And we didn't do it this time, and we got results. And that is critically important. We cannot forget that. Because now we're gonna take those lessons that we got from how to rescue to how to invest. We're in the middle of, for Treasury, in the middle of the implementation of the Inflation Reduction Act. So far, the IRA has supported the creation of 2,000 clean energy projects across the US. That is generating over $380 billion in announced investments. What's more promising, super exciting, just remember this, because your homework is going to come in a little bit. What's more promising is that these investments are reaching a broader range of communities than ever before. For instance, 85% of clean energy investments have been made in areas that have below average wages. And 85% have gone to communities with below average college graduation rates. This growth is an outstanding example of the administration's commitment to grow the economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not just on aggregate, but we have the ability to build a stronger economy when we are investing more broadly in communities that have been overlooked. Treasury is also working to make sure that these investments and the capacity that is created to reduce energy burdens makes it into low-income communities and environmental justice communities through the IRA's bonus incentive credits. They help make these clean energy projects possible in low-income communities. Get out your pens, I want you to write these down if you don't know them already. The Low-Income Communities Bonus Credit Program that is helping to fuel residential and community solar in low-income communities, the Energy Community Tax Credit Bonus, and prevailing wage and apprenticeship requirements. Last month, I was here in LA, and I had the opportunity to visit one such project that's not too far from here. The Sun Valley Bus Yard in Los Angeles, part of the LA Unified School District's electrification initiative. It's partially funded by IRA green credits. The project is not only helping LAUSD transition a fleet of 180 electric school buses, but it's also providing local students with training in electrification projects. The project has a strategic location between the community center, an airport, and a school. Prior to this investment, these 180 buses would warm up in the morning, and that diesel fuel would pump right into the parking lot of the school. So that's what kids and teachers and school workers were breathing every day. Now, as they make this transition, it's going to mean that they have the potential to serve as a power source for the local grid, in addition to producing clean air and better environmental outcomes. These are the far-reaching impacts of the IRA. The visit underscored for me how clean energy investments are benefiting not just the environment and communities in need, but they're creating economic pathways to a more equitable and sustainable future. So this brings me to you all and your homework, your mission, should you choose to accept it. And I'm basically going to lock the doors. You can't get out unless you agree to accept this mission. So come along with me. Our implementation efforts so far are exciting, but we all know in this room, they don't work without trusted service providers. This is the moment that CDFIs have been training for over the last 30 years. This is why the Biden-Harris administration, the bipartisan CDFI caucus, and the Treasury Department have worked together to give CDFIs the tools that you heard Dan talk about, so that you could be a force multiplier in our clean energy economic transition. I'll just quickly talk about two examples that are going to be very familiar to you all. First, included in the IRA is the EPA's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. It includes the $14 billion National Clean Investment Fund, the $6 billion Clean Community Investment Accelerator, and the $7 billion Solar for All program. Just side note, I want somebody to fact check if this is like the first time at an OFN conference we've heard this many billions with a B on stage, because it's really incredible. OFN and many other CDFIs and MDIs, trade networks are recipients of GGRF funds, and you're working closely with other state and nonprofit recipients. Together, you will create a national financing network for clean energy and climate solutions so that they reach all communities across the country. And it is the deep relationships in communities held by CDFIs that will help ensure that those most at risk of being left out of the clean energy transition can access cost-saving technology, and make sure that we're not just getting that cost-saving technology that's incredibly important, but we're part of building it. We're owners of the companies that are installing it, that are maintaining it. It's critically important. That is how we are going to narrow the racial wealth gap. The second initiative, which many of you are participating in, is the State Small Business Credit Initiative. It is a nearly $10 billion program providing capital to small businesses across the nation. As of the year end 2023, jurisdictions have reported that SSBCI funding has supported more than 3,600 small businesses across the country, facilitating over $3 billion in new loans and investments, $500 million of which went to support underserved businesses specifically. 40% of those transactions were for minority businesses, about 30% for women-owned businesses, and 4% for veteran-owned businesses. And participating jurisdictions are just getting started on this program, but already CDFIs have been instrumental to the deployment of funds. Let me share just a couple of early pieces of data from the first SSBCI report. Through the last year, over 60% of SSBCI-supported transactions were made through CDFIs. Did you get that? 60%, resulting in over $400 million in new financing for small businesses. I'll let you clap for that. That's okay. Yeah, there we go. Let me tell you things you know. Over 82% of CDFI transactions involved underserved businesses. You're a key driver of our program's ability to reach these entrepreneurs. 55% of your transactions were conducted by loan funds with an average loan amount of around $100,000, supporting small businesses with smaller capital needs. The SSBCI program also includes funding for technical assistance program geared toward providing financial advisory services, legal, accounting, the services that many of you provide, and your ecosystem works together to make sure that underserved and our micro businesses have access to. We partnered with the Minority Business Development Agency to launch the Capital Readiness Program, which supported businesses through 43 service providers across the country. Lastly, I want to take a note. Pravina's going to be here. You guys are going to hear a lot more about the new CDFI certification application, the update that was released. This was years in the making after incorporating extensive feedback from community finance practitioners. But it comes at this critical time in which your role is only getting bigger. And when the field is getting to be more diverse, we have more structure types, product offerings, we're in new sectors. And CDFI certification is increasingly serving as a qualifier, in many cases, for other federal, state, and private sector. It was critical that we updated the certification to reflect where the field is now and make sure that we are protecting the CDFI brand, the quality of what you all do. Finally, another thing I want to mention is the way in which the administration is also working with private sector companies. Bank of America is up here, Citi, Wells, so many of our, see, I can't start naming names and then because I'm going to forget folks, but I want to shout out and thank those companies and foundations that are part of the Economic Opportunity Coalition. It's a group of more than 30 of America's leading companies and private foundations launched by Vice President Harris and has the bipartisan support of Senators Warner and Crapo. Already, the EOC has secured over $1 billion in deposits into CDFIs and minority depository institutions, and they've pledged to get to $3 billion in deposits by 2025. Okay. We can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. It's going to take the village in this room. The Biden-Harris administration worked with Congress to pass and now implement 4 once-in-a-generation bills that are going to fundamentally change our economy. And now to your homework. We need your help. As we reflect on the journey over the past 30 years, it's time to build for the next 30. It's time to build on your success and get out there. Do what you do aligned to these new historic federal investments. You are critical to ensuring that borrowers, especially small business owners that have the opportunity to scale in the economic wake of these investments, to make sure that we're meeting the demands of a changing market and that we're in a position to capitalize on these new economic opportunities. This includes mapping where capital is landing and comparing it to where those opportunities exist, looking at those places where the IRA investments are falling, where the CHIPS investments and the infrastructure law investments are landing versus where you're serving. Making sure that we are aligning with emerging strategies, emerging industry sectors. And of course, always staying grounded with the community needs to better serve our current and future customers. You are going to be the bridge between a set of federal investments that are pumping trillions of dollars into our economy, that are going to fuel the economic growth for the next generation, and making sure that we meet the aspirations that we all came here for, to make sure that those communities that have been left on the economic margins by policy design, by our economic transitions as a nation, not on our watch, not this time. Because we are going to work together, we're going to make sure that people get the opportunity to participate in that economic opportunity. We're laying the groundwork for a future where every community has the opportunity to thrive. So this is your mission. should you choose to accept it. I hope you spend the next couple of days plotting and planning, and we leave this conference ready to get to work. Thank you so much for your dedication and for your vision.